All right, excellent afternoon to all those who are watching me across the states in Nigeria. They said the double green on our flag signifies the richness and the vastness, if that's the word to use that when it comes to our country. And in the areas of agriculture, mineral wealth, I believe that these are some of the challenges that we are facing. However, today, the child of the farmer is dying of hunger, and over 200 million, people blessed with agriculture is begging to eat with decency. And I'm asking myself, where are we at the moment? Is it a problem of food scarcity or a problem of food production management? All of that will be answered by a resourceful guest today. Again, I say welcome to another interesting edition of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener and chief host, Kike Atanda-Owo. And of course, I think it's important for us to hear what On This Day in History segment asks for. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, my submission on This Day in History segment is only on the, I don't know what part now, because National Assembly elections in 1999, we have seen that history have come to fall again, and three parties were most prominent at the time, and now we have so many parties that even sometimes I myself am catching up in terms of verifying the prominence, which continues to reflect on our disunity and of course the dividedness in our country. And the lesser the parties, I believe that this country we have better ideologies, we have we have more of what we should promote, and the smaller the problems that we have at the moment. I think that's my own message, my takeaway from On This Day in History segment. It's time for a quick message from my sponsors, those that put me on this platform. Let's get a message from them. Then we'll dive straight to the main conversation when I come back. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with me. In the area of food statistics, we have inflation of food commodities, and a pint of buckets of gari went from 1,600 guys to about 3,000 naira. And of course, spaghetti jumped to 950 from, I think, 300 or 400 naira. A crate of eggs is now over 4,000 naira from 1,800 or a little bit above 2,000. And of course, 50 kg bag of rice now sells for 77,000, 80,000, depending on the brand, I must emphasize. And the persistent rise in food prices eats the pockets hard. The National Bureau of Statistics, the NBS, latest reports reveals that Nigerians' inflation rate has climbed, to a staggering of almost 30% in January 2024, and of course, up from now is almost 30% from the previous month. And in response, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has declared that he would not approve the importation of food or establish a price control board. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu also said this on Thursday, that following a meeting with the 36 state governors, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja, also following reports from Kano State and other areas about large scale of ordering of food in some warehouses. We all saw that on social media, and of course the president also said during the meeting that he had instructed, the NSA, Inspector General of Police and Director General of DSS to coordinate closely to ensure that the security agencies in the state inspect such warehouses and take follow-up actions. In my head, I'm like, okay, all right, guys, I have the right guest today, on the show. My discussion will cut across the current state of agriculture and of course food production, the agro-aligned industry, and the challenges facing this sector. I believe that with all that is going on right now in the country in terms of the atmosphere of the people, it is important for us to bring real talk with the issues at hand, with the analysis of my guests that will be touching on the policy formation on food importation ban with a view to stimulating local production growth. And before we engage my guest, I think it's important for us to check his profile, and when I return, we'll go straight to the main conversation. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, welcome to the show, Mr. Oyeride. It's a pleasure to have you on Real Talk with Kike today. How are you doing from your end?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on this show.
It's a pleasure.
It's a privilege.
It's a pleasure to have you. It's a pleasure. So let's just dive straight to the conversation at hand. And if you listen to my intro earlier, because according to the report, the food inflation rate is high since January 2024, quickened to almost 36% on a year-on-year basis, and which was like almost 12 percentage points higher compared to the rates recorded in January 2023, which is almost 25%. I don't know how to coin this question now, because is it, or are there specific reasons for this galloping rate of food price inflation, or is it the forex market, that has plunged us into these food challenges that we found ourselves at the moment?
Yeah, thank you. So, the thing is, it's multiplateral, multidimensional. First of all, Nigeria must agree that there's a global problem. There's a global inflationary problem across the world, in North America, Asia, and Europe. Everywhere there is. With peculiarity also, even Africa itself, according to the release by African Development Bank yesterday, they're expecting that there might be a little bit of problem in some countries in Africa, Ethiopia, Kenya, Angola, which are like the biggest economy in Africa, that there might even be riots for food on the streets. So what is even happening is not peculiar to Nigeria. It's a global issue. It's an African issue. But our own situation, has made it compounded. That is even the problem right now. Our local problems vis-a-vis insecurity, the the diving unstoppable, it seems, devaluation of naira has now exacerbated the problem. That is where we are right now. Number one is a global problem, but peculiar to Nigeria are now added this other two: the insecurity issue and the issue of naira being devalued, the value just crashing.
All right. I hear you, and many thanks for that insight, emphasizing that it's a global problem and the issue of naira devaluation and all of that. But you are an agripreneur, and you are a stakeholder in the system. I believe that when there is a surplus food, the prices will fall in the market automatically. I would like you to educate us on what are the challenges farmers are facing at the moment.
Amazingly, the challenges farmers are facing at the moment were the same challenges you and I did when we were doing social studies in our primary school. The problem of agriculture, the problem of development in Nigeria, as it were in the 70s, in the 80s, it exists in the 90s, and even now. So the basic problem of infrastructure, road, poor credit to farmer, and even farmer literacy. All these are like a combination of disaster recipe, that has already been there. It's only that the global thing just probably escalated it. It's always been a challenge in our country that we don't have infrastructure. If when we talk about food production, but what about post-harvest loss? Post-harvest loss in Nigeria accounts for between 30 to 40% of our production production waste in Nigeria. That is to say that when even farmers produce at our low rate of production, much of it still don't even get to the end user. They are destroyed on the way due to a lot of poor storage facility, poor handling processes, and poor transportation and logistics systems that we have.
While I understand that with your submission right now, I think this tilts me towards the policy. The policy President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is advancing in terms of the area of ban importation of foods that seems to be yielding negative results thus far. However, the policies were formulated to drive the local production and increase investments, in the local farming and, of course, in the agro-aligned industry. I must ask you, why are we experiencing counterproductivity? Or is it because we are in the short term of those policy implementation? What's your take on this?
Every policy is designed with assumptions. And those assumptions, if the variables of the assumptions are not stable, then those policies can never work well. That's the problem. Nigeria is an import-dependent country, even on our agricultural inputs. All the chemical fertilizer and machinery used in agriculture in Nigeria are imported. They are not made here. Therefore, whatever affects other things, like the dollar naira rate, will always affect even local production, and it will affect the price of the production at the end of the day. So no matter the policy made, and also I have always had the argument that Nigeria does not really have a problem with policy formation or policy design, but the problem is policy implementation. We've had so many beautiful, lofty ideas and policies and programs by the government, but are they being carried out to the letter? If not, then it's just like a puddle, just swimming in the puddle and you're going nowhere.
All right. Again, many thanks for that submission right there, your own insight. But, with what you've shared also, are saying that, policy is designed on assumption. While I agree with you to some extent, because the northern governors, as about a month ago, had a mutual agreement, to show up their food produce warehouses in order to create self-sufficiency of food supply in the northern region. After all, it really depends on whether it makes sense to be the food supply region of the nation or be in hunger. With all you've shared thus far, saying that Nigeria has a problem of policy designs, and we've seen how, the so-called governors have come together in terms of implementation of making sure that we all go hungry and they don't want the food to come to South anymore. What are your comments on this? Because other regions of the nation are beginning to suffer this, and we've seen how quite a number of people have been going to street to protest. We've seen what is happening in Ogun State at the moment. We've seen what is happening in Ibadan, your state at the moment. What's your take thus far with these northern governors coming together in their own region to just keep the food?
Definitely, everybody protect his own first. But let's go this way. Is poverty, hunger, and exclusive of the South? It's a national problem. It's a global problem. But it's even an endemic problem in the North. As we speak, there's huge poverty in the North. Heavy one. So I don't think it's because of this or that. Probably they're just trying to the first riot started from Niger State, in Northern State for that matter. And every other state might not have protested, but nevertheless, there is huge hunger problem. And it's not just, I'm glad that the state governors are choosing to speak right now, because I've always had this position that everybody concentrates on the central Abuja. But what about the state and local governments? Development is supposed to be modular. So development is supposed to be by competitive advantage. What can you produce better from your region than mine? That is where there's trade. That you produce, I buy. But there must be exchange of trade. If the northern governors truly said they won't let food come to the South, what about if the southern people say, okay, fine, all manufactured goods from the South don't go to the North again? What happens? Then there will be national crisis, isn't it? Now, go back. Let's be sincere. Whatever anybody is doing as palliative, it's not even mitigating this, because production of food, whatever you have not produced before now, you cannot store. You can only bring out what you have produced. So if they are talking about production is not now, is it? Are you talking about the irrigation production or the next wet season production? Nothing can be done about what has gone. They can only find a way of flooding the town with food, which is definitely like a fire brigade approach. The northern governors ought to come back. I was born in the North. I live all my life in the North. It's amazing why we are hungry. Nigeria has no business with hunger at all. I've trained farmers from Kano, Katsina, Jigawa, Birnin Kebbi, Nabida, even to Enugu. Nigeria has all the lands. The northern governors, if they had come together before now, would have, and the good thing for them is that most of the crop are even shorter, 60 days, 90 days, or 120 days. So the duration of production is short, and they could quickly go into it. But there are truths on ground that are mitigating against the effectiveness of this proposition. Most of our farmers are not literate. One of the challenges we face in training farmers is that even our farmers don't even know how to keep record. And when you encourage them to keep record, they keep going back. One, they don't keep record. Two, they don't even embrace new technology easily. When you tell them this is the way it's supposed to be done, they'll say no. Many of them have this position or posture that this is the way we've been doing it and getting the results, and this is the way we'll continue to do it. So they don't really embrace technology. They don't increase new agronomic practices, which can even boost production.
All right, I hear you, but you know, with what you shared earlier, saying that, you know, farmers can't keep record, I feel that is a Nigerian thing. Nigeria cannot keep data. You know, most sectors or industries struggle with this, and sometimes I feel that maybe the farmers need some level of reorientation in terms of technology, you know, in terms of training. Maybe that's the word now, training, because this coaching before then, because you were saying that Nigeria has no business with food challenges. While I agree with you, but I feel that with the way you have given your submission, I'm beginning to ask, because the inflation on food prices have worsened the tension in the country, Nigeria today, which justifies the people coming out on the streets for protest. Earlier, if you listen to me in my intro, I was talking about the amount for crate of egg, which is about over almost $5,000 as at today, and the bucket of gari, which is over 3,000 naira. Should I say a bag of gari? I used to purchase a bag of gari, you know, last year for 20-something thousand naira. My brother, a bag of gari now is over 50,000 naira, and I'm asking, that's the commoners' food, so to speak. You know, do you think the people are not justified for voicing their own hunger and dissatisfaction when you say that Nigeria even doesn't have business when it comes to food challenges? We all know what is going on. Yes, it might be a global thing, but the way it affects us differs in terms of government having looking after its citizens, you know, and we know what it is in Nigeria. It's about who knows who before you can just get certain things come on your crumbs come on your table. What's your take on this regarding people falling on the streets to protest, at least peaceful protest?
Whether it's peaceful or not, every hungry man is an angry man. Every angry man may not be hungry, but you can't have hunger and not be hungry. It's not possible, because there's this metaphor, but it really happened. I was somewhere someday and I saw a mentally challenged man. He went to this woman who was doing akara, which is beans cake, and I saw him. He was speaking with her. When we left, I went to meet the woman. What happened? The woman said he was begging me for food. I said, and I said this in our local English. Madman man feel beg. Why? Because hunger is a leveler. Hunger is a subduer. Hunger is create uprising. Why? Even if you look at Maslow hierarchical law principle, at the base of it is the basic of life: shelter, food, security. If those basic those basics are threatened, and that's why it's called food security. As much as we have gun and human security, food security is huge, because hunger can kill. Hunger really can kill. So when people go to the streets, it's not as if the food is not there. The problem is that the money cannot purchase the food any longer. So there's huge inflation, which definitely came about much more by the continuous devaluation of our naira. And why is it so? Most of the things we use in our agriculture in Nigeria is imported. Herbicide, imported. Pesticide, imported. Fertilizer, raw material, imported. So definitely the cost of production is also heightened. Therefore, people have a right to protest. It's their life. Because the basics of life, the basic for support for living is one of the provisions supposed to be made by the government. The government is supposed to be an enabler of production.
Well, let's go on a quick break now, and when I return, the conversation will continue. Stay with me, I'll be right back. All right, glad to know you're still right there with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation is about the current food importation ban and, of course, the food price inflation, supply, and the policies used by the federal government to address these challenges. I am with an agripreneur, Mr. Oyeride Adeniyi. on the show, and I must say many thanks for all your submission thus far. I've been discussing this topic with him, and we've been dissecting various angles of the discussion over the last 30 minutes. Now, I'm going to go to the second segment of the show, but before then, again, I want to say many thanks to my guests for all your submission thus far. Let me use this opportunity to quickly open the phone line. Remember that you can be part of the conversation by calling the studio number 080-988-7740, showing on your screen right now. And of course, we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, both on Real Talk with Kike platform and on Silverbird platform. Again, many thanks, many thanks. Mr. Oye, let me come to you, because the analysts have said that policy implementation is one of the major challenge in our system today. You know, the people are struggling with subsidy removal. I, for one, do not even like the fact that, or like the way the subsidy removal was removed. There's already hike in energy, electricity tariff and cost of transportation, and the people aren't having a breather whatsoever. So if you were in Tinubu's government to execute policies, you know, as an agripreneur, how and what policies will you be implementing for the agricultural sector?
Thank you. Let's take it this way. There's before policy implementation, before policy formulation, I think we need to look at a philosophy for development. There's something called the tertiarization of economy. Economies are usually divided into primary, secondary, and tertiary. The primary is the extractive industry and agriculture. The secondary is the manufacturing and industry, and the tertiary is services. There's a big problem we are even having in my country. We're talking about food production, which is now at the base of this. For example, Africa produces about $2 billion worth of cocoa every year. Yet, the chocolate industry is valued at about over $100 billion. There's a big problem. We are still thinking of raw material. We are not talking about value creation or how to tap into the value chain of this production. It's not just about farming itself, as it were. It's about agribusiness, not just agriculture. Agri-finance, agri-development, even IT into agriculture, precision technology in agriculture production. Two, we are, demographically speaking, we're a youth-based population. How much of the youth is engaged in our agricultural production or food production or the food system itself, which produces the food we eat and the raw material for the industry? Until we go back to this, that basic, we have to, it's not just about food alone. Food is just like the good book says, it gives seed to the sower and bread to the eater. The eater eats the bread and goes to the toilet. The sower goes to the field and sows and produces 30, 60, and 100. What is our philosophy in Nigeria? Are we the eater philosophy or the seed producer and grain producer philosophy? Are we just to eat and die? Or to so what? Because what we're even looking at right now is survivor, not thriving. The challenge we have is a crisis. We talk about survivor. But beyond survivor, we must begin to look at thriving. And how can agriculture lead to such? Until we pay attention to the issue of the value chain within the agricultural sector, supply chain within the agricultural sector, and how agro-industrialization can take us out of this quagmire of import dependency. But I want to throw in something which is even amazing here. We are talking about banning of importation of food, not exportation of food. I know a few years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, during the last regime, About 500 trucks of grains are always leaving Nigeria on a weekly basis. Is that not still happening? Don't you even think that the devaluation of Naira and the evaluation or the trumping of franc that is spent in other African countries can even encourage the food being produced in Nigeria to be exported to as far as North Africa? It's not even, it's not a hidden truth. It was happening some few years ago. So has it stopped? Because people will prefer to sell food or grains to where they can make more profits. Has that been blocked?
I hear you, but you see, Nigeria is largely dependent on importation. Our next export is abysmally low, and when we depend on foreign food products, it shoots up the dollar value and continues to, depreciate our naira. With what you've shared thus far, I believe that we need naira to appreciate. Now, my question now is, should the government be favoring importation in the food sector because we want to eat at the expense of our whole entire economy?
The issue is that even if it is to be done, it must be done like a case of emergency. People are hungry, people are on the streets. If that is what should be done to calm down the situation in the interim, then definitely it has to be done. People are hungry, and you cannot say because of one economy. Is somebody who say is it not the person that is alive that will look at economy? I am hungry, you're talking about economy. What English are you speaking? If that is what can be done. But I think the government is already buying food so that they can push it to the market. The only thing we keep asking, when the government buys it, who sells it? When the government buys it, to whom is it sold? That somebody else will not also begin to take advantage of the palliative. So Nigerian problem seems to be multidimensional, multi-plethora, multi-sectoral in nature. When somebody is trying to solve something, somebody talks into an advantage to make money. So even if that is done, hope somebody is not taking advantage of it to store and resell later when the prices go up.
That's a very good way of looking at it, because I feel that right now, even clients, or I don't know, maybe it's vendors I should use now, are beginning to store food, store things, even dollar, thinking that by the time it goes up, it will be an advantage to them. And that's what has been going on at the moment. But I have two questions for you before I wrap up this segment and we'll move to the next segment. And the question is, what is the way forward? With all that you've shared thus far, how can we resuscitate our agricultural sector? Because I believe that agriculture is also what makes us rich in this country. What is the way forward to lead Nigerians out of this hunger in the land? What will save us, from the rising inflation that is killing everybody in each sector that we all belong to one way or the other? That's my first question to you. And my second question to you is on a mild note, because I know you're a farmer. Going through your resume and an agripreneur, like we like to refer to people like you as farmers. Currently, if I'm allowed to say your location, you're in Canada. How are you managing your farm, running your own businesses in Nigeria? I believe that your farm is still very much active and you're over there. How do you combine both, knowing that even to trust people in this side of town is always very challenging, not to talk of you involving them in business, if there is?
I spoke about value chain earlier, that when you talk about an agripreneur, it's not just the one that goes to the farm to till the land that makes him a farmer alone, but investment in the agricultural value chain. I'm still an active investor in the agricultural value chain. Even presently, I'm not farming because most of my farm before now were on lease old, so they were let go. A lot of issues came up from the issue of security, insecurity, and what have you. But we're beginning to concentrate on the other sides of production. It's not just about going to the farm that makes you an agripreneur. An agripreneur is an investor in the agricultural value chain. For example, I told earlier, I'm an enterprise developer in the agricultural value chain, which talks from field to the fork, from field to the table. Back to the sorry, I can't put me back on the train of the first question.
All right, my second question is, how do we resuscitate the present situation at the moment, especially when it comes to agricultural sector?
The current problem must have multi-dimensional. Number one, hunger must stop. That's the first level. Two, there must be short.
How can hunger stop when there's hunger in the land and people are angry?
The hunger in the land is not because there's no food. The hunger in the land is because the food is not affordable.
Well, when you say that the hunger in the land is because the food is not affordable, you know, there are some parts of Nigeria today that they are even saying the food is not even available. It's not about whether it is they can purchase it or not, whether it's affordable or not. That's the word now. So I know that we're also struggling with both states coming together. I gave you an instance earlier about the northern governors in their own region trying to now, you know, up food, and you're saying that it is normal for them to do that. So again, is against availability and affordability. There's hunger in the land. How do we move forward from the situation we found ourselves and people being angry at the state governor, at this government administration? I don't want a situation where, you know, people will take to streets, and all states, they've started already with, like I said to you earlier, it has started in Ota, it has started, you know, your state, you know, before you know it, other states will follow suit. How do we move forward from this hunger?
Number one, the hunger issue is like a state of emergency. No matter what, either the government has to borrow or whatever, do it to bring food as palliative. But you see, I still have an issue with this palliative thing. Hope it's not go the COVID way, the palliative way. So that's the first problem. Number two, we are even opportune in our country to have short-term crops that within 3 months, 6 months, and co, that they can be produced. All those need to be looked into. And my own take here is that it's no longer an issue of federal government. State government should also begin to think. A few years ago, let me give you an example. India came to Nigeria and said, we have the opportunity to export to their country lentils and legumes to the tune of about $150 million or thereabouts. I was shocked that no state governor would like say, let us dedicate 5,000 hectares or 10,000 hectares to target exports of this commodity to India. India, by population, is bigger than Africa. Imagine if a state, maybe any of the states in the northern side of part of Nigeria, could dedicate land and resources and technology to producing food only for India. Imagine, Google it, it's there. It's about 150 billion naira or dollars. I can't remember which of the currency or their own currency. But what our state does is like what we call Almajiri system. In Kano, you carry something at the end of the month to go and say, where's my own take? Where's my own portion for the month? If the states begin to make money through agriculture for themselves. See, I traveled from Yauri in Kebbi to between Podesadu and Obomosho. That axis, they have almost the same vegetation. And this covers acreage of land. You said program markets 2. This is something called Lakaji, that is Lagos, Kano, Jibia. That this is a corridor for food production worth millions of dollars. Our governors, our local government people, not only the federal government, should begin to look at the competitive and comparative advantage of production within their geographical location and create handshakes. The federal government can do the initial one of trying to mitigate the problem of the land by quickly pushing things to the people, getting money, buying food in bulk to calm down the hunger in the land. But on the long run, state governments and local governments must be held responsible. What are they doing, sir? What are they doing?
All right, I hear you. What are they doing? I think on that note, that is where we draw the curtains of this segment. And I must say many thanks for lending your voice on issues that affect us all right now, which you say is a global thing, but in Nigeria today, it's a bit worse, you know. And I must say thank you so much for creating time to do this with me. But before I let you go, there's a last segment of the show that I call Trending Stories. These are stories that bind us as Nigerians, you know. And the first trending story that caught my attention is that of our faith in Tinubu. Seyi Tinubu urges Nigerians, you know, Nigeria, you know, to have faith. And I must ask, what faith exactly? Which faith? Where's the faith at the moment is also what I'm asking. Where is it coming from? Where is this faith coming from? What is happening in our country right now? Where would faith, you know, come from in terms of hunger and hardship in our country? And I feel that, you know, Seyi Tinubu is a brother, is a friend, you know, but I feel that right now I need to keep it real on this platform. Seyi Tinubu lacks the moral uprightness to be talking about this crucial time in our country. And I feel that is meant to be, you know, fighting his father, maybe for lack of a better word, maybe not fight, but dialoguing with his father for the sake of Nigerians and telling his father this is not what we promised Nigerians when we're coming into power. People have evidence to prove that the president's family, you know, is benefiting while Nigerians are suffering. You know, I saw a post online, you know, showing Seyi Tinubu himself using luxurious wristwatch. I don't want to go into the cost of the watch, but just about 3 watches, you know, wristwatches are worth more than ₦1 billion if you put all those pictures together from his post and all of that. And the people, you know, are pointing fingers at the kind of luxurious life they are living, you know. Why are we complaining of the Ziani? I'm asking in pain right now in terms of corruption. I remember vividly that we actually, you know, were all over social media talking about the Ziani using $40 million to buy lingerie alone, you know, as a woman. I was running then, you know. Yeah, here we are having a seat, so to speak, with the president's son, you know, wearing a single wristwatch of I don't want to call the figure, you know. And I have seen the likes of other, you know, celebrities like Mercy Aigbe, you know. I say, you know, kudos to her, you know, and many other celebrities using their platform to speak for the commoners on the street. This is just me speaking on my own platform, you know, regardless of my friendship with anybody. I just feel that I'm more concerned and I'm touched about the condition of the people, of the commoners on the streets. And these days, guys, I'm truly scared of even opening my DM on IG, on social medias. You know, I have seen or received plethora of messages from different people. People have come out to say, oh, please help us this, help. I have my own challenges. I don't think that I've got it all covered. Yes, I try to stay real, but it just differs from one another. But hey, nobody ever thought that things would be this bad. That is honest truth. Let's keep it real. And with what my guests have shared thus far, with the protest that is going on in Ibadan, that took place in Ibadan 2 days ago or yesterday, the protest that took place in Atanda-Owo State, I am sure other states will follow suit soon. That's the honest truth. It's the bitter truth, but we must say it. So you can't hold people from protesting peacefully, because it's their fundamental human right, and no one, I repeat, no one can take it from there. Now let me move to the dollar rate right now. We know what it was during Obasanjo's administration, as at Jonathan's administration, as at Yar'Adua's administration. We knew what it was from 2015 till date. We know how worse it has gone. So today, a single dollar, hello, as at this morning, You know, when I spoke to my banker, it's going for about over 1,600 or 1,700. So the problem of this regime, you know, started from day one in May 2023 with the removal of subsidy. No vision, no negotiation, no stakeholder dialogue, just straight removal from, I don't know, I'm trying to choose my word carefully. Who does that? That is where the problem started from. And the campaign, I tell people that campaign is different from when you are in the corridor of power. The situation of leadership and management of an economy is a different thing entirely when you're on seat on that chair. You will see things clearly, you will understand things clearly, you'll be able to dialogue with people, the stakeholders, to bring us out of this issue and to tweak whatever policy you think they are bringing it to fall in terms of implementation. I use 86,000 naira right now to fuel my tank, the tank of my car. Diesel cost today is unbearable. In my office space right now where my office is seated, it's not funny anymore. Even other offices are not ready to even contribute the diesel money to turn on the gen. So at the end of the day, who suffers? We all suffer it. It's not about whether you can afford it, whether another person cannot afford it. Organization that I've signed contracts with at the beginning of this year, by the time you go to your check and balance it, to your record books and accounts, you will see that you've lost half of the value of what is initially thought that you thought that would be your profit. So again, I must say, even structured organizations are owing people salaries for months. Hello, enough is enough. People just want to see, or people want to start seeing or feeling change for good. No stories, man. Pardon my word. Sir, what's your take on this trending story?
Seyi Tinubu, number one, would definitely want to encourage us to support his father's administration. So for me, I don't really see anything wrong with what he has said, that we should have faith. The only thing is that how much of faith brings food to the table. And two, I won't want to go into personal life of Seyi Tinubu because I don't want to believe that it is just when his father got to the government, he bought all those things he has for himself. I presume he's a businessman and he could have made his money from things. The only thing is that at this point in time, what we must be a bit sensitive to the nation, and we must choose our words carefully. People are sensitive and people are touchy, and therefore we must be careful. And you see, there's a problem when you have not been in poverty or in hunger for a long time. If you're not careful, you will lose touch with reality. Maybe it's happening to him, but I don't think he's speaking to Nigeria in bad faith. I think he's just trying to let people know that we understand what you are going through, and we are trying our best. My father is trying his best. I probably saying I know what my father is doing. Probably he doesn't even sleep at night trying to solve the Nigerian problem. Maybe that's what he's trying to encourage. We should not take it against Seyi Tinubu. I think he's trying to just say, calm down, Nigeria, please calm down. We'll come out of worse things, we'll come out of this. I mean, that's what he's trying to say. But my last word is this: to solve Nigeria's challenge, all hands must be on deck. Everybody must contribute to this. Our senators, please reduce your spending. You don't need to buy those SUVs. Let us put everything into bringing Nigeria. If Nigeria collapses, there will be nothing like Senate. There was nothing like House of Rep. So please, I think everybody should cut their spending now. I saw, I don't know what it is. I saw a few days ago, one of the senators was quoting one of the ministers. You are going to which country to spend about 2 billion naira on joining at this kind of time? Imagine 2 billion naira is used to purchase food in a particular place. What do you think will happen? So our spending must cut now. Example, it happened in FIFA. When the lady, I've forgotten the name of the lady, she was brought from the developmental field. She was able to create a cut in FIFA, and FIFA became more profitable because of cut. We cut costs. There are some irrelevant spendings that should be cut now, and those money should be shoved towards calming down the situation of the food crisis. Food crisis is a very serious one. It can lead to upturn and upheaval and unrest in a community, in a society, and in a nation, and that must be addressed right now.
Right, two. Many thanks. So that we can have. So that we can have. Yeah, so that we can have time to go.
Lastly, I don't know why Nigeria is still focusing on where we have gas. Our cars can be powered by gas. Egypt did it like 2-3 years ago. They diversified from oil and diesel. They went into gas. Your cars can use gas. Our generators can use gas.
All right.
Why this PMS thing?
All right, I hear you. I hear you. We will get there soon, but we are not there yet. But what I was trying to drive at earlier is that Seyi Tinubu lacks the moral uprightness, to be talking at this period in time, because I feel that sometimes there's a time to be quiet and there's a time to watch, and that's exactly what I was trying to pass across earlier. Whether he was in business before or he's still in business now, it's got nothing to do with the fact that people will look at whatever thing he says from another perspective. Moving away from that, the second trending story that caught my attention quickly, if you can touch on that in 3 minutes, is the Niger state government to discipline teachers over primary school curriculum who tackled President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Again, before I bring your submission to fall, let me quickly say this. Before we go into these controversies in the video of the boy, taking the debate, the boy's name is Abdul-Kabir, and it should be promoted, if you ask me, given lots of prizes. I personally feel that his education should be sponsored up to tertiary level, if you ask me. He's a rising gem, I must emphasize, he's a rising gem who has a bright future. I watched this video a couple of times. I feel that career-wise, who I believe is an eloquent student with promising intellectual capacity that will come from one of the states that comparatively has low education standard in the country. His teachers have done pretty well in grooming this young boy, and he should be encouraged. Yes, this is one of the positive dividends, if you ask me, of social media, by bringing talent to limelight and showcasing our diverse world, despite the fact that, again, social media have painted the north as if it's full of ills. Now something positive have come out of this place. Now going into the main argument and controversies that I saw online, I don't understand why the Ministry of spokesperson Jubril Usman Kodo, or whatever his name is, pardon me right now, is questioning the tutors, and it's so unacceptable, if you ask me. I want to assume that the boy was coached by the tutor, by the teachers. The boy hasn't used any foul words or inciting language that we can say that is the reason why we want to, be throwing the tutors under the bus. And he's only engaging in an intellectual argument, a questioning of a school of thought that I feel that we the older ones need to take a cue from. He rendered his position with no ill words. He was giving facts back to back. In fact, I watched the video. I was wishing that was my son or that was my child actually spilling the issues or the challenges that we have at hand in Nigeria today. He wasn't making up any statement. There wasn't any forceful or falsifying data. Maybe that's the word right now. I ask in pain right now, are we not practicing democracy again in Nigeria? Is there no freedom of speech? Is there any way in our constitution that goes against constructive criticism of the government? Why is the government always putting up position against the people when it favors them, or when it's time for them to think that there's something they would benefit from the people? The boy has spoken for the people in this time and the economic hardship that we are going through right now. He has spoken the truth. He has lent his voice, and we appreciate the truth, and we work towards rectifying all these issues that this young boy has brought to fore that we all know. So the so-called Mr. Jubril, sir, spokesperson did not see the condition of the students who were sitting on the ground, the pupils who were sitting on the ground, that I felt that he needed to call his attention to in terms of infrastructure in the school condition environment. Now, they were blind to that. The problem of the government now is that they cannot engage in the people in a way that will be productive to the society. The only way, or the easy way of engaging people, is by saying vote comes, they will come and use us into power, and they should learn to communicate and engage the people when it's time that is favorable to them. Hello, can we please take several seats and try to do what is right? And when they say that the government starts with us, that's exactly what this video has taught us. I think this, on this note, unfortunately, I cannot get the thought of my second, of my guest. This is where I draw the curtains of the show. Definitely, I will be bringing you back on this platform. Many thanks for sharing, for lending your voice on issues that affect us. I wish you the very best, Mr. Oye, and I want to say bye now.